Hello, everybody. 17.5 is out. So, let's go over these patch notes. I have played about 8 hours of it, and there are a lot of really good changes, and a lot of things that... Yeah, just mostly really good changes. Like, on the whole, there have been a lot of bad reactions to some of the bugs and stuff that are in, that people may think are, like, intentional or, like, purposeful, like, nerfs or some weird shit like that. But there are bugs in currently, and things aren't working exactly how they're supposed to, mostly with Mesa. She's got some weird stuff that people are freaking out about. We'll talk to that once we get to that part of these patch notes, but we're going to go over the patch notes. So, first thing on the patch notes is the Jordas Precept, which is the new quest in which you have to do to be able to get the Atlas Blueprint and unlock the node for the, well, what will be the raid boss, but is released to give us Atlas, essentially. I don't know what's going to happen with Atlas after we actually get the raid properly, or if this boss fight will just be much harder in the actual raid. So that's kind of up in the air as it is. But I will say that the Jordas Precept is interesting. I think it will not be fun for a lot of people because you need to get quite a few items and build them in order to like move along. Which I just like threw a little bit of plat at it just to like kind of like boost my way through it and see what the entire quest line is. There's the waiting, which is like 16 hours of like building some stuff. If you don't already have some Precept or not Precept pods, the Juggernaut pods. If you don't already have those, there will be some waiting. If you do already have those, there's still a little bit of waiting, but I don't think it's anything too crazy or bad. The quest itself is fun and interesting. I really enjoy like the new character that is added and like the stuff that goes on, and what you're actually doing in the quest is actually kind of interesting, like hunting juggernauts and like finding this other cephalon and doing stuff like that is actually really cool, and I like it a lot. I'm currently building Atlas, or the parts for him, and then later today I will start him up, so you can expect me to go over his abilities and stuff fairly soon. Because the moment he is done, he's going to be level 30 within probably about an hour. So, there's that. And just all that stuff surrounding like the quest and all that, I think is great, well handled. If you don't have Archwing ready, that boss fight's going to be very difficult for you. I have some Archwing stuff, so it's not super hard. Other than that, that's great. Also, I should point out, I have these little notes in here that I like just have put on, and that's kind of to help me and also to help you know what I'm about to talk about. So I tried to make this large enough so that everybody can read it, because I know there was problems in the last dev stream thing I did where the text might have been too small for some people, so I tried to blow this up as big as it could go. So I hope that is working out. So let's move on. These are just Atlas's powers. Obviously, I know what they do, but I don't know how they actually behave, so I can't say like anything more than I could say on the last dev stream video about them. So down here we have the Archwing polish and additions, and these are really, really important because they add a lot to Archwing on the whole. Focus camera. They add a lot to Archwing on the whole, in terms of like just the general playability and how things function in Archwing, and they're really fun, and they add so much that it's kind of baffling to me as someone who doesn't really like Archwing that much, or didn't, I guess. The changes are really, really good, and the boss fight kind of drives home why it is better in a lot of ways. So I have played most of the new Archwing stuff. I have not done any mobile defenses yet. But, I mean, I assume that's going to be fine. Because the changes to Archwing are mostly quality of life changes and things that help you actually do the Archwing thing, rather than being like a game type that might be bad or something. So I'm not really going to talk about the game types too much. But things that they have added and or fixed. The Afterburner system, and most importantly, it feels really good to do. Like... And it is also helping you get to places faster, which cuts down on a lot of bullshit, which Archwing kind of have a problem with. The other thing is enemy markers and like the way that an enemy is displayed to you. You get like... What's the best way to go about this? Like the enemy is below you thing, like it's like spinning around your screen, like a red thing, and then like whenever you actually like see an enemy, they are highlighted with like the Star Fox-esque like lock-on type deal. And like you can see their health bar and stuff with some of the other changes that have gone in regarding just enemy health and like how you see that. All of that kind of comes together to make it so that the enemies in Archwing are like way more visible and they don't blend into the background as easily. And like getting a bearing on like where you're being shot from is so much easier, and just all of that stuff, like which is actually playing and shooting the dudes, is so much better. It's hugely improved. I don't think it's perfect, but it is definitely better. And I think adding more ways to do the Archwing thing will help relieve the other parts of that, like not having like a healer Archwing, and like that stuff is just, we don't have enough Archwings to fill those roles yet. We only have 3, 4 if you count a prime. Yeah. Other things about Archwing specifically. You get passive energy now, which means that you don't always have to bring Energy Siphon as the only choice ever, because Archwing energy is something else. You use so much energy for so little effect a lot of the time. You need the passive energy so badly in Archwing, and I would argue that you need it regularly as well, because you're not actually doing well on energy until like the very far-flung end game in Warframe. Like in the very beginning of the game, generally, like whenever you are like starting off as a Volta Mag or an Excal, having just some energy to fucking use without having to kill dudes to get it, and it being like a precious resource, would be really cool and good, like just for just general game flow and how it works. And you could tune how much energy enemies drop to kind of better suit that. But that's all other stuff. What happened is that Archwings have passive energy now, which is a huge improvement. And better affinity. So I can't attest to this personally because I haven't been leveling anything. I've just been using my maxed out stuff when I've been playing the Archwing stuff. But apparently affinity sharing is better, which is good, and that I haven't been able to test that because I haven't been leveling any Archwing stuff. I'm going to take their word for that being better, and leveling Archwing stuff was shit and garbage, so that's probably at least a partial fix to that problem. And that's really good. So, let's move on to the new enemies. Okay, so I haven't seen a single goddamn modular corpus enemy yet. I was playing on Jupiter for a while. I don't know if they don't just not show up there or what, but I didn't see any. I saw not a single one, so I can't really say anything about them yet. Yeah. And then as far as like all these other new infested enemies, they're all pretty standard variants on the other enemies. Like that's pretty normal, and those don't really make much of a difference. New weapons and mods. The Techo, made out of an Ankros for you console players, have an Ankros extra if you want to build it. The Convectrix, still researching that in the clan. Obviously, the Sonicor is currently building. I'll probably talk about that whenever I talk about Atlas, because I'll probably be leveling them at the same exact time. The Phaedra is apparently it's referenced as the Soma's big sister, which I want to believe, and that would be really fun. So, hopefully that's the thing. And the Kazas, which is a space scythe for Archwing, which is cool, but I mean, all melee kind of functions the same in Archwing, so it's eh. And then a new stance, which is Gaia's Tragedy, which no one knows where it comes from. I don't know where to get it either. And I'm not particularly worried about it until someone else tells us where we get it. Okay, so new customizations. This stuff is pretty cool, and it's very important. So I'm currently building the module for this, but this gives us new options in missions, in like ways to customize our overall Tenno, as opposed to like customizing our Trinity or customizing our Atlas or customizing the Valkyr. Like, as opposed to doing that, it comes with your gear, and you can kind of change it up a little bit. So you basically get different ships that do different things, and obviously you have the Lizette, which I don't remember exactly what that does. Air support cipher, which I don't know what that means. I don't know what that does. I have no idea what that does, because I don't have the thing yet I'm assuming it hacks the zone for you. Sure. So I'm gonna assume that's what that does. And then we have the Mantis, which is the new ship that you have to build. That is the Team Health Restore, which seems to be the better of the two, depending on exactly what Cypher does, since I'm not totally sure. I definitely want to get the Mantis, and apparently, allegedly, not confirmed, I haven't gotten any parts for it yet, allegedly, you get it from Death Squads, which is like enemy syndicate Death Squads, and maybe the Grustrag 3, and rare containers. So, for me personally, I found the best place to get rare containers to be the raid, and with some other changes that we're going to talk about in a second, that seems pretty appealing to do the raid some more, get the parts for the Mantis, fight some Death Squads, build the Mantis, and just get some, like, the stuff out of the rare containers isn't bad either, and do all that stuff. That makes that actually more appealing, and it's a thing that I want just to have more rewards, like the raid in general, or better rewards. But there's a change that we'll talk about that has actually made better rewards not so much necessary, because now the rewards are better in that the way you use them is better. But we'll get to that. General customizations, the new Valkyria skin is out, and it looks amazing in the gameplay that I'll be putting up today also, which will probably be uploaded later because it's a lot of gameplay. Warning, there's going to be a huge video that's probably 6 hours long of me just, like, testing Ember, doing Valkyr stuff, like, what's going on with Mesa, what's happening over, should we do the quest? Yeah, we'll do the quest, let's farm the Atlas guy, and doing all that stuff. So, that video will be coming out. Also, I used the Drosemi skin in that after trading around for some platinum. And that is only going to be available for 2 weeks, so if you want it, get it now. I'm not sure if it's out on console. If it's not on console yet, it will probably be added and then be available for 2 weeks there as well, so you will have 2 weeks to acquire it. That is important. They also added some Syndanas and the Opulus robe. That Syndana looks really fucking cool. It's my kind of thing. I'll leave that at that. The handshake emote. I don't know what is up with the handshake emote. Me and Brian, who are in the same syndicate, were able to handshake super good, and it was great, and we did the unique thing and all that stuff. But then me and Jacob, who some of you have probably seen in some of my previous videos, the 1 hour survival raid, or survival, the easy 1 hour survival, I believe is what it's called. I was with him in that. Me and him are actually on opposite sides of the spectrum of syndicates, as in I have the left 3 and he has the right 3. And for those of you that might know why, yeah, so we can trade things back and forth, and so we can always have everything. For some reason, and I think it might be because of that, we can't do the handshake animation. Like, we can make our hands touch, like, super good, and it's like, no, we're not, no, we're gonna do some solid this. Nah, man. You against me. Me against you. And I don't know why that is. So the handshake is maybe a little glitchy, but also maybe appropriate. It's kind of hard to say. And then toggleable meditate emote. So for those of you that like to hang out, it's pretty good. I don't mind that change. It's all right. Okay, so now this is the stuff that are the changes to Arcane that are really, really good and actually make it more appealing by making it easier to use. So part of the shitty thing about Arcanes was that they take forever to put in things, and then you upgrade them and it takes forever. It takes a million years to get such a tiny little baby effect, and it sucks. And that's awful. They've wiped a lot of that down, and they're like, all right, okay. What if we made it easy? What if we made this like as easy as possible without making it fucking busted? Can we do that? Yes? Okay. So, basically, you have the new Arcane menu, which is in your Foundry. You can see all of your owned Arcanes here. And then, this is Better Management actually does make this a lot more appealing. It does. The better menus and stuff are great. And they also tell you what this shit does whenever you, like, click the Arcanes, which is really important for telling people what the fuck shit does. Because Arcane Healing makes you resist radiation. That is not intuitive. No one knows that based on the name. Arcane Healing is like, oh, does it give me passive heals over time or something like that? No, it makes you resistant to radiation, apparently. I didn't name it. So, there's that. Basically, they made it so that there is no wait between putting arcanes in and taking them out. That's really good. And the cost for distillers to take things out is cut in half, which is like 50,000 standing. Not even that much. You should be working to get a maxed out syndicate. 50,000 standing can be gained in like 2 days, conservatively. Like, that's not that hard to get. And because you are probably leveling 2 different syndicates at like the same time, you're probably gonna have both. Like, you'll probably have, like, be leveling both of them at the same time. Then you'll have 2 arcane distillers in 2 days. So that's like, that's fine. You'll have enough, and you probably aren't going to be distilling very much. So that stuff all works out. That whole system became way better just because of the way they're handling it now. And those buffs are something I actually would want to go get at this point, because it seems like it'd be great, and you want to like collect all of the arcanes and max all of them out, and that seems like a really like good goal to have, because the menu is there where it's like, you're this much complete. Oh well, shit, I should go fucking do that. Yeah, I should go do that. And like, that's like how it like is perceived now. It's not just another item that's clogging up your foundry. So that's important. This Conclave stuff, we're gonna skip that. I haven't played Conclave in a while because it was unbalanced as fuck. So eventually I'll go back and try it, and maybe it'll be better. But let's get to these important Warframe changes. And these are the big ones. These are the huge changes, the large changes. So this changes my opinion on a lot of frames. So any video prior to this one is kind of invalid in terms of some specific frames. And those frames are Ember, Hydroid, and Nyx. Equinox is mostly the same. She has been buffed a little bit, but she's mostly the same. And that's fine, because Equinox was alright. She got a little bit of a buff in some areas that'll help her out, and some of the new like toggle ability changes are also helping her out. And this stuff, like all this stuff you see for Chroma, is not actually a buff, because none of that shit matters for Chroma. So, I mean, it's a buff. Like, you could call it a buff, but a buff's an ability that's useless anyway, so it's fine. But important changes. Ember is really actually pretty good now, which I never thought I would say again, honestly. After all this like time trying to buff her, it seemed like they were just never going to do it. They finally achieved it. So that will be a separate video of like how I'm using Ember now and how she is actually pretty damn good. But basically, the main thing that they did is that they made it so that her forward no longer has a duration attached to it, and it's toggleable, which is what we've been asking for such a long time. And because of a mod called Firequake, that also means that you actually can do a lot of crowd control type stuff. And like, there are a couple of builds that are actually like work out, and even in some like fairly high level, like some decent level enemies, you can just burn them down because they can't move. And that's really effective, and it feels really good to play as Ember doing that. So that's really fun. Ember has been made significantly more fun. The changes to Nyx, basically, they did the thing that they should have done a long time ago, and they made Chaos recastable. You can't continually like just keep hitting 3 and stun them super a lot, but you can Chaos more enemies, which makes Nyx's life 100% easier. So like, that is just a great change in and of itself. Also, the changes to energy drain, which we'll talk about at the end of these other changes, also buff Nyx significantly. And then the changes to Hydroid. So his Tempest Barrage and his Tentacle Swarm, which are his 1 and his 4, you could cast once, and then you wait. And that kind of half-assed ability does its thing for a while. Then you cast it again. And those abilities were really, really inconsistent whenever you could only cast 1 at a time. Whenever it was like Tentacle Swarm, Tempest Barrage. That shit just missed that guy 47 times. That shit was not okay. Now, you can just hit 1 like 8 times in a hallway, and you filled that hallway with bullets that knock motherfuckers down now. It's not inconsistent anymore. That's not how inconsistency works. If you fill the hallway, you are now very consistent. Use a little more energy, but it's better. Same kind of with his 4. Now you can just be like, man, I'm the Tentacle Master, and just fucking throw that shit up left and right, and just be like, man, the Tentacle Master just does not stop. Like, it's some crazy hentai up in this bitch. Like, these corpus don't know what's going on. And, like, that's what's going on there. Like, it makes Hydroid significantly better for making him an actually consistent frame. And his 1 and his 4 actually had some good, like, crowd control potential and some good modding potential. It's just that you couldn't always get them to act the way you wanted. So now you can just do it. You can just do it, and you can cast it until the thing does the thing. Which is probably only, like, 2 casts, maybe 3 if you're really unlucky. So that stuff is way better. And then the important mention will be afterward. Okay, so the way that draining works now. So, whenever you have a toggleable ability, we will use Embers 4, the way it is now, as an example. More duration converts into efficiency at a different rate. Negative duration affects you very negatively, but positive duration will affect you positively and give you some more efficiency on those abilities to make them cost even less. So, all of the frames that have toggleable abilities have other abilities that greatly benefit from duration. In I would say 90% of cases. So, the thing that a lot of people are complaining about right now is that, if you remember from my Mesa build video, there's General Mesa and Turret Mesa. Turret Mesa is no longer a thing for some other reasons that we'll talk about when we get to the Mesa Peacemaker changes. Turret Mesa is no longer a thing. Because having that negative duration that you would have, because you wouldn't use your other fucking abilities, means that is not sustainable. You cannot do it. Like, you will use so much energy and you will just die. But General Mesa is amazing still. Like, it's arguably, like, a little bit better than it ever really has been, because, like, the way this change works is that it makes it so that Turret Mesa is a dumb thing, and it was stupid, and I didn't like it, but it was a build, so I included it in that video. It was a build that a lot of people use. That's why I was in that video. I don't really like it. General Mesa is a solid, all-around frame that also had a good 4 that you could utilize that maybe didn't do the maximum amount of damage, but Mesa's 4 is really fucking good, so that doesn't matter as much. And you have huge amounts of survivability, and you have, like, some stunning potential, and your 1 is pretty good, and doing all that stuff with that really high duration efficiency combination, that stuff still works. So, like, if you want a new build for Mesa, if you're angry about that, go look at my General Mesa build and just use that, because it's fucking great. Like, some very slight tweaks, and it's exactly where you want to go. And it does make you, like, invincible, essentially, if you like the way the new Peacemaker is. Also, for Excal, people were building him just, like, straight power strength, similar to Turret Mesa, only with a sword. That's not the intended way to play Excalibur, because you're supposed to use his other powers at all. And the key one there that is his synergy is you're supposed to use his 2 and his 4 together. And if you just dump his duration all the way down, that makes his 2 a thing you never ever use. And you should be using his 2 because it makes you a better player to blind and crowd control enemies and then murder them with bonus damage and finishers and shit. So, like, there are people that I was seeing that were saying that this was like a nerf to Excal. It definitely is not, first of all. It's definitely not a nerf to Excal, like, in any regard. Like, he's either exactly the same with the build that I use, or he's better if you build some extra duration and, like, drop a little bit of efficiency. And, like, that's not even crazy. That's, like, just fine. Like, there's nothing bad about it. Like, that doesn't change his build that much, and if you were building him for, like, hugely negative duration, you were only hurting yourself, so this should reinforce that you were making bad decisions in the first place. So now it is pushing you in the right direction. And I would say that's kind of also correct for Turret Mesa, where that isn't exactly a playstyle that DE wants people to have. They want them to use the whole kit and actually play the game. Which brings me to Mesa's Peacemaker changes. Now, these are bugged. Let's scroll down here. Okay, so Peacemaker is currently bugged for clients, which means if you are not the host, it is not working appropriately. They need to fix that. That's not good. They should totally have that working before they release a change like this, because it makes people really angry when shit doesn't work. And it used to be like the only ability they used. That's bad. That's real bad. So, the way it does actually work, and go solo, host your own game if you want to see the actual way that it works. You hit 4, and you have a big, like a fairly large radius of shooting all the dudes. And the more dudes, or bullets rather, that you shoot, the smaller this cone gets until you are looking right at someone. And then you're shooting them a whole lot with a lot of very, very powerful bullets that kill dudes super fast. Like insane. So, I don't think that's bad. People that don't like to aim will not like this change. But it's still really good for those people in bursts. And it's actually only a huge benefit if you are able to get your focus all the way in and then shoot specifically. And along with that, there are occasions whenever Mesa would hit 4 and start shooting, and then the infested behind her would never get shot, and you'd get your ass eaten. That doesn't happen anymore, because there's an infested behind you, you turn your goddamn camera, and you blot that motherfucker. You shoot that guy. He's dead now. You aimed at him, and now he died. It is way more effective. It's better. It's more tactical. You can, like, hit, if you want to hit the hallway in front of you, you just look at the hallway in front of you, and you shoot the dudes. It's better in like every way, and it does more damage now, which is just, that is just better. That's a can. It's fine. There was nothing in it. That's okay. Anyway, that is just better. It is bugged for clients. That's very important to remember. And once that is worked out, it will be a better change. The visual effect is a little weird. That's a complaint that I can definitely see. I don't mind the visual effect. I think it's fine. Okay. Also, range mods are also bugged on that. That doesn't work for anyone, even the host. So, okay. Moving on from that stuff. Once that's fixed, we'll see how it works out. But, Valkyr's stuff. Okay, so Valkyr is way, way better now. Like, significantly better, like, in a huge way. One, Ripline is really, really good, because you can chain it, and it does more damage now, which I assume is how Atlas's 1 is going to use. And I think it also costs less energy as you use it more and more. Which is really good for just pulling dudes around and like just kind of slamming them into shit and like setting them up for finishers on the ground. Okay, that's the Ripline stuff. And also soft locks. So like if you're just a little bit off, it'll be like, nah, I'll grab that guy, fuck him. Which is good because no one is really using Ripline to get around now, but with the changes to parkour and how that works. So Ripline is a more offensive ability, makes a lot of sense. Okay, so Valkyr's HUD. That's with Ripline. It shows you like how much combo you have of the Ripline. Hysteria can now be toggled on and off, and similar to Excalibur's Exalted Blade, it gets the same type of weapon interaction buffs. So the type of numbers that I've been seeing from Valkyr's Claws. Let's talk about that really quickly because it's kind of fucked up. The highest number that I have seen come out of Valkyr's Claws, and this is not with a Nova or anything like that, is 400,000 damage. And that was a finisher, mind you. But 400,000 damage is a lot of damage. And when that's a finisher, that means that kills anyone. I don't think that an enemy can get to 400,000 health and you still actually be living. I mean, unless you're Valkyr. Because she lives forever with her 4. So that's... That's a point. Anyway, Hysteria is way better now. You're no longer like completely stunted whenever you see a nullifier and go, I have to go wait 30 seconds before I can go fight that guy. Now you can just turn it off and be like, I'm gonna shoot you real good, and then you're done. And then you just kill the guy and it's great. So that stuff is done now. 50% knockdown recovery speed and no heavy landing for Valkyr. That stuff is great. Awesome. Equinox stuff. Her switching forms being a 1-second delay now is actually really good. 2 clones from Mirage's Hall of Mirrors now fire projectiles. I don't know how, like if the damage has been balanced out or what is up with that. Like, more so, it's. I know it's to reduce lag, and crashing people's games is what it is doing. But I don't know if like the reduced amount of projectiles, like how that affects Mirage, and if that is fine or better even, or if it makes her way shittier. Not sure how that is. So I haven't really tested that out yet. I need to go test that with Mirage, which will be interesting because I really like Mirage. Now here's the thing that I don't understand. They nerfed Mag again. Like, after nerfing like greedy pull, you'd think it would be enough already. Like, you can stop kicking the girl when she's down. Like, you took away her thing that we were using her for. Yeah, so basically DE walks up to Mag, slaps her in her big like chrome dome looking head, takes her greedy pull and goes, you know what I think of this? Just rips it up. Fuck you. And they go, actually, you know what, wait, one more thing. You know your 1? That's pretty good. Fuck that. Cut it in like half. Now you're good. Later, bitch. That is what DE is just doing to Mag. Like, I'm expecting the next patch to literally say, removed Mags 3 and 4. Like, because at this point, she is, like, just losing power. Like, left and right. Like, just, like, her crowd control of her 1 is, like, significantly reduced now. So, like, that just sucks. It just sucks for Mag. And, like, Mag was already struggling, and now she's struggling even more. And eventually she's just going to fall off the cliff. Like, that's just how it's going to be. So there's that. And then an improvement to Nyx's Psychic Bolts, which I think just needs to be removed entirely, and they need to come up with something else. But that's what I think of Nyx's Psychic Bolts. I don't think it's a very good ability. And then Zephyr's Tailwind has received a fix. Which, there you go. And then here we go with the mission changes. The note on this. So because I know you're going to need the pods to complete the new quest, go to Akanth on Eris, which I believe is the first mission that you unlock there even. That mission consistently spawned a ton of Juggernauts for us to farm out those pods that we needed to get. Super easy, all 4 of us got all that stuff. It was very, very simple, a good mission, like fast, like just doing it real good. And I was running that with Ember, which is, she's really good at that now. She's just burning Infested down. Somehow, whenever you fix her ult, it makes her really good again. That's crazy. That's how that works now. Also, in Corpus caches of Infested Hive missions, the combined status electricity mods are there now. So if you're looking for those and you don't want to buy them from the Prime Trader, that's where they are. So you can find them there. So let's see here. This stuff. These are a lot of quality of life changes. So I have like 3 things that I want to hit specifically. Waypointing. Waypointing is way better. If you waypoint a mod, it tells you what it is. You waypoint a resource, it tells you what it is. Syndicate emblems and the Courier tells you what it is. Waypoints that tell you what it is waypointed as, even when you're 100 miles away, are a huge improvement, especially when people don't want to type in chat. Communicating things without having to like go to like, I told him there was a Courier on this waypoint out of the 7 waypoints that are down. Yeah, real good, like, yes. Yeah. Knowing what the waypoint actually is, huge improvement. And then, okay, so the second one we have here is the ability to view mod stats. So if you go onto your Warframe and you click the abilities button, that menu used to be basically fucking useless because it shows you the base shit. No one uses the base shit. No one is using the base stuff unless they just don't have the mods to change it. And like, that's just like brass tacks facts. Like, that's what that is. So you can now choose to view it with your mods, which is 100% more useful and makes way more sense and is just better in every way. Use that to see what your abilities do more accurately now. Huge improvement, makes everyone's life so much easier. And then we have the enemy health changes, and this kind of goes into the Archwing changes also, which whenever you look at an enemy, usually you would shoot them, or just look at them generally, and their health bar would appear like here, like up at the top, like the very tippity top of a screen, like out of this like window that is me. This very tippity top would be a little health bar that you could barely see. and or like that you have to look away from the enemy to be like, oh, he's at half health. Where'd he go? Shit. And like that was no good. So that's changed. Enemy health bars will now appear like right above them if you're looking at them, like over their head, like name tagging that bitch. Huge improvement. Just generally a huge improvement to just like giving you information right away and knowing how strong something is. Like, oh, I shot that guy, and then he looked at me like, are you the bitch? And then I needed to run, and like that's how it worked. Being able to like immediately tell that stuff without having to look away from the enemy to be like, is that guy level 58? Oh shit. Like that is a huge improvement across the board, and that's great. So these other quality of life changes. I read it again just to make sure there's not anything too crazy. The frozen enemies will now shatter instantly is good because they could get in the way and you didn't know if they were alive still. That's a good change for those frost users that are using that stuff. The Kubro indicator will now display gender and breed type on hatching. So for me personally, that's a good thing because I like to know what it is so I can give it an appropriate name. I have a Kubro that is like a Sahasa that is named Fetch because I thought it was not a Sahasa. I thought it was the one that fetches items, which I still don't have. So I have a Sahasa named Fetch. I mean, he's fine, but his name is Fetch and I really wish it wasn't. Anyway, that's a personal problem. That stuff's fine. And then some sound stuff, that's fine. And then we have a lot of general fixes that I have not read all of these. And usually this stuff is not anything crazy. And if it is, then I will know later because someone will point it out on like the Reddit or the forums or somewhere that they fucked some shit up. So there's that. Oh, and then, okay, funny thing about this bottom part. So for a few hours after the update dropped, Trinity Prime and the Dual Comma Prime were dropping in the void. That was not intentional. That wasn't supposed to happen. So you can be rest assured that it is definitely Trinity Prime 100% guaranteed. And I will be actually probably buying that Prime Access pack. And just having that right away. So I can just check out all that stuff, and I need plat anyway, and I like giving DE my money because I like their game. So all that stuff is 17.5. I hope I broke down the important changes, fixes, quality of life stuff, new content, and what all there is to do. So go get Atlas, go fight the new boss, level your Archwing stuff, figure out what your builds do now that duration affects efficiency, and do all the number things. And I will see you tomorrow with more hand gestures and waving.